Can the China-Switzerland model for relations be applied to the rest of the European Union? Well, Federiga Bindi, a senior fellow at the Center for Transatlantic Relations at Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies, spoke to me about that. I asked her on our show the link about globalization in the face of new leaders promoting protectionism and how the EU will respond.
The question is whether the EU has taken notice that we're going into a new world order. And this issue with China is particularly an example of that. If you go to see, for instance, if you look at the website of the EU delegation in China, it's like, are we in the same century or what? So
are we?
I wonder, you know.
Can you see this model expanding?
I can personally see it, but I doubt whether the EU sees it. As you know, for the EU, the main problem is this question of giving China the status of a market economy.
Exactly.
And again, it was interesting because, as you know, the special protocols which were signed when China entered the World Trade Organization 15 years ago expired in the middle of December. And coming to see you, I went to look online and say, did Federica Mogherini reacted to it in any way? It's silence. While we know that China is challenging, is bringing a legal case, because for them, once the special protocol was expired, then they should automatically be given market economy status. So there is this big legal case going on, and where is the EU?
Silence, crickets, right? Well, here's an interesting thing. Kerry Brown wrote this in The Diplomat a few months ago about the impact of Brexit on the UK-China relationship. Quote, suddenly all the grand promises in the past of trading with Beijing in a new expanded way have to become reality much quicker than was ever expected. So in a way, will Brexit fuel a different dynamic in terms of the UK-China relationship? We're already seeing the rail line, of course, going from China into London.
Well, once you know that the UK, until it's a member of the European Union, it cannot legally negotiate any other agreement, trade agreement with any other country. So they're sort of stuck in time until they get out of the European Union. But of course, once they're out, in 2 years' time, more or less, then they will very likely going to negotiate an agreement, which I would expect would be similar to the free trade agreement that Swiss had negotiated with China a couple of years ago. And the question is what the EU is going to do about it.
It's interesting because we're talking about the EU, we're also talking about the UK. We're not spending a lot of time talking about the US, where we are. I was at an event last Thursday in New York City. The China General Chamber of Commerce hosts an event. They honor a number of people who are expanding relationships, building this bridge between the United States and China. Henry Kissinger spoke, Mike Bloomberg spoke, a number of Chinese dignitaries spoke. But the underlying ripple was, where does this relationship go? And there seems to be genuine concerns. There's a lot of, one person said to me, the one thing that's going to be predictable in Washington is that it's going to be unpredictable with this incoming president. How do you see that dynamic changing?
Well, I can certainly agree on the fact that this president is going to be unpredictable. So the big question is going to be whether it's going to be the rhetoric that is going to be pursued as a policy, or if you'll have a rhetoric on one side and a policy on the other side. And if you look, for instance, at the person that you put forward as a nominee to ambassador to China, it's someone who has very deep relationship to China. So it strikes me to be at odds with the rhetoric of President-elect Trump, the one which was just which was the declaration that he just did. So it's, at this point, we have a question mark. Certainly for China, it's a good news that the TTIP is virtually dead, because this would have really put China in a difficult position, for instance, over Africa. So they are, I think, far better today than they were months ago. And we'll see. I mean, I expect more cooperation than what the words actually are showing us in this moment.
Federiga Bindi joining us earlier.